Polaris Pro R has a CVT clutch system, and the primary clutch has an engagement of around 1800 RPM. To fully utilize the Dynojet launch control, because you're going to raise the RPM with the launch control electronically, you need to do the same thing or above the set point mechanically. And the way that you do that is with a high engagement primary clutch spring. The expected benefit once you install it would be that you would fully utilize the launch control, and you'll experience a much greater rate of acceleration due to primary clutch, well, both clutches I should say, staying in a lower ratio longer so that you get better drive off the start. I'm going to show your buddies up at the sand dunes or at the mud bogs or anything like that, or even on the trail by leaving them in the dirt. Yeah, I would say, yeah, you do need one. Other benefits of the high engagement clutch spring for this unit is that it allows the CVT transmission to stay in a lower gear longer. So it's much better for sand use. Anytime you're using bigger tires, heavier tires, have more load because of terrain, it allows you to accelerate out of the hole much harder than you would have done normally. To install the Dynojet high engagement clutch spring, which is available for the Polaris Pro R, you only need basic tools and a universal spring compressor, which is available at Dynojet. Tools necessary is a 10mm socket and a torque wrench. That's about all you need. It's pretty straightforward. First, you remove the screws that retain the pressure plate to the movable sheave. You should always mark your location of your components on the clutch. So you can see this is the spider's marked right there and the pressure plate's marked right there. You want to try and keep everything the same when you put it back together. So this is the stock Dynojet clutch kit spring, the standard spring, and you can see that the spring we're going to replace it with is this spring right there. So you can see the different length of the spring. So what we try and do is increase what we call the installed height, which makes a difference to the engagement, but we really don't want to affect the rest of the shift. So basically the spring rate is less on this spring than this spring. So when you install this spring, it will change your engagement, but it won't have any effect on your clutch weight. So the magnets that you have in the arms that you've set up previously, you can actually just swap out the one spring for the other and not make any other changes. Another benefit of the high engagement spring is that if you try and utilize the launch control with the standard spring and you set the set point on the launch control higher than the engagement of the primary clutch, what will happen is you'll end up with a bunch of wear down in the bottom of the sheave, like you can see right there. You can see where that's worn, and eventually you will wear your clutches out and it will make for a really erratic engagement and difficult to drive at low speed. So by installing the high engagement spring and having the clutch engagement higher than the electronic engagement, you'll actually, your clutch will last a lot longer and you won't experience these issues. So you can see how much taller the spring is, which increases the engagement RPM. And it's kind of at the limit of the compressor's threads there, but you can do it just fine. I find it's a lot easier to do this off the car when you're installing the high engagement spring, because it's very difficult to do in the car with the way that the car is set up, with the clutches basically in the frame sideways. You don't give you a lot of room to be able to do it on the car like you can with the standard spring. So to install the high engagement spring, I always like to take the clutch off and then do it on the bench. So basically now we're just going to tighten the screws back up that retain the pressure plate to the movable sheave. And that's how you install the Dynojet Pro R high engagement clutch spring. You're ready to go out and have a blast.